Sustain Dane believes that there's space for everyone and that it's a journey, right? There is no one way to be sustainable. There's no endpoint, and we really welcome everyone to come in at the place where they find their own excitement or interest.
Welcome to the Home Comfort Zone podcast. I'm Theresa. I'm the marketing manager at All Comfort Services. Today we have Claire Oleksiak. She's the executive director of Sustain Dane. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So, for those who are unfamiliar with Sustain Dane, tell me a little bit about it.
Certainly, Sustain Dane is a nonprofit. We focus on Dane County, so the Dane part of Sustain Dane, and have been operating for about 25 years. We work to help people learn, connect, and take action for sustainability. And we do that with individuals and businesses, other nonprofits, municipalities, schools, like all the different pieces that make up our community.
So what does sustainability mean exactly?
So there's many definitions. We oftentimes start with the UN definition, which is more or less how do we use resources today in a way that there will still be resources available for future generations. So that's kind of a core way to kind of think about what sustainability means. There's also, though, in business, you may have heard, like the 3 Ps, right? Planet, people, and profit. And we expand that a bit in our thinking to talk about environmental health, social and racial equality, and also economic sustainability. But, kind of those 3 pieces. It's the planet, it's the people, and it's the economy, and they're all nested together.
And obviously those are all really important big topics within themselves. How do you identify what are the key things that you're going to be focusing on?
Mm-hmm. So we've done many different projects and been involved in many different opportunities in the 25 years. About 6 years ago, when I came in, we did a strategic planning session where we looked at kind of where our community was, what were the areas most important for us to continue improving what we look like as a community sustainably, and who else maybe isn't doing different work in the community, and then what's our expertise. And with that, we put together what we call kind of our suite of programs for Sustain Dane. So right now, we focus on education. So we offer a number of workshops, professional development opportunities, networking, and those are around different sustainability topics. Every quarter, we have a general topic. So we have one coming up about sustainable tourism. We've done one about birds. We did one about nuclear energy, right? Like all different topics. And then we also focus in on specific topics, and that could be recycling or energy efficiency or water stewardship. We also do work in energy efficiency and affordable housing. So smaller affordable housing units, that kind of 4 to 8 or 10 size buildings, have traditionally been left out of a lot of the incentive programs and a lot of the improvements that are really critical. So we are able to help those types of buildings get assessments, prioritize what needs to be done, and then actually implement the work. That takes down the cost for residents, so keeping that housing affordable. It also improves the health of the building and kind of preserves it as well long term. We also do work in food waste reduction. So we run free pickup sites for households in Madison at 3 different farmers markets. And that started ahead of the Dane County scrap sites, which just got launched this year, which are drop-off sites. So we kind of helped pilot this idea and kind of show that there was a need for it and an interest in the community. And then the last area I like to talk about is our work with young people. They are the future, they are the next generation, they are inheriting this planet, so really supporting young leaders. That looks like work in elementary schools, a lot of work in cafeterias is a place where kids have been excited around kind of recycling. And then we also run a program in the summer with high school students, and that provides them an opportunity to learn about green jobs, different career pathways that maybe they haven't been familiar with. We go through certifications, so there's a solar certification, we're doing a GIS certification, also some natural resource management. So a lot of different programs. A lot of different work, and it's all in collaboration, right? We're not doing it all by ourselves. We're collaborating with so many different partners.
Right, and to that, how are you funded? How do you, how are you able to continue all these programs?
Yeah, we have many different funding sources, which is really important because they can change. So we operate on a membership model with businesses as well as sponsorship. We also have fees for some of our programs. We have grants. We have individual contributions, and then we do contract work. So we're contracted to implement the food scrap collection sites, for instance. So it's pretty diverse pie for the different funding sources. Right now, there is certainly uncertainty about federal grants, and that has been impactful, and it's something that we have to kind of hopefully be leaning on our other parts of funding sources to help fill those gaps. But we've also know that Dane County is incredibly supportive of sustainability work, and we feel really confident that there is a need, and we are here to fill that.
Do you provide assessments for businesses or for homes?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, come into a business and the business wants to be as green as they can, productive, efficient.
Yeah. How do we do that? Yeah, so we have a workshop in April called the Accelerate Sustainability Workshop, which is a business workshop. This year we had about 70 businesses that came to it. And that is really the chance where we kind of help them level set kind of what's going on right now, and then help them identify where they want to put their efforts and put together a plan, so that when they're leaving there, they kind of got that first step done. And then we continue to work with them throughout the year, sometimes throughout 2 or 3 years, because it can take a while sometimes, depending what the project is, to help them be successful with that. In terms of individuals, our primary homework has been in the affordable housing space. We certainly are a resource and can connect people with, here's someone that we've worked with to do assessments, right? Or if you're thinking about this, we actually know someone maybe who's fully electrified their house if you'd want to talk with them. So if we're not offering it ourselves, I'm pretty sure we're going to be connected and can be a resource too to help someone get what they need.
Right, and then just thinking about this, full circle, working with a trade, a business in Madison that could help them, a plumbing company, electrical company, heating company, to help. On the plumbing side, there could be lots of different things people could be doing. They could have cisterns, not that the plumbers do that, but they might connect things to make that work. But when someone's going to do a new build, they could think about cisterns, different things with capturing water.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So what are some organizations that are tying into Sustain Dane that create this sort of longevity of the organization?
Mm-hmm. So I think one of the partnerships that we've grown a lot in the last few years is with the Latino Academy of Workforce Development. We were successful in receiving funding for a grant to develop a energy efficiency leadership course, so that members of their community could learn about what are those steps for energy efficiency, how can they then teach family, friends, neighbors, colleagues about it. And from that, we've just been able to grow in different ways. We worked then on a air quality grant together, which turned out to be really important when the wildfires hit a couple years ago, to help understand air quality and have monitors set up. And of course, this summer as well, that's come back. We've also put our Recycle Better program into Spanish language and now offer that in Spanish language. So that's been a really, really wonderful partnership. Plus the contract, we also did a contractor accelerator program with them. So looking at contractors that are maybe doing adjacent work to energy efficiency work and how they'd be able to grow a business into that work.
Are there other organizations connected as an outreach, like, for example, the University of Wisconsin, Madison, and other organizations?
There's so many. I mean, hundreds.
That's great.
We have our membership over hundreds of organizations. Yes, University of Wisconsin, definitely. Dane County Office of Energy and Climate Change and the landfill. Businesses upon businesses that are working in this space.
It's a great way
networked,
to go further everybody's efforts to connect.
Yeah.
What are green teams?
Mm-hmm.
How do they work?
So oftentimes let me start back. So what we're finding is, more and more employees want their business to have values and action around sustainability, right? Businesses are looked to be leaders in this space right now. And what green teams are an opportunity for employees to take on leadership and ability to make the change they want to see. So oftentimes they'll be in businesses or other organizations too, a group that can get together and talk about, how does their business function? What are areas that they see they could improve? And then, help put together that case and ask, for the business to take steps to go that route. So that could be, something like, gosh, we haven't converted to LED lights yet in our building. Like, can we do that? How do we plan for that, in budgets or, what needs to happen? We have, businesses that are interested in starting to compost in their cafeterias or their break rooms. Transportation-wise, is there carpools that maybe they'd want to set up with their employees? So it's, all sorts of different opportunities come around, but it's a really exciting kind of, grassroots, people within their business that see that they could make a difference. And it feels, I think, really rewarding and is a really good leadership opportunity to form a green team and to be part of a green team.
Are there any success stories that you're really proud of?
Yeah, well, some of those that I just shared. There's a really great story with UW Credit Union around behavior change, where they kind of really early on went to, we're going to do the casual Friday. This was before COVID, right? So people were always in the office, but we're going to raise the temperature 2 degrees. And with that, we're going to recognize that people maybe need to dress a little differently. Also lots of, when you're gone, the lights go out, kind of that kind of stuff, which is really exciting, I think, for people to see and feel, because you can, touch it in that way. Another one last year that was really exciting for me was with a biotech company. And one of their employees, very passionate about sustainability. Sustainability is not in her title. And what she kind of knew and wanted to focus on is the refrigerators that you're keeping these samples at are huge use of energy. So, it could be one of these refrigerators is like the use of like 4 houses. Like that's how high I'm thinking, right? We are. So what she was able to do is connect with a green lab certification and start to understand that, most of our samples actually don't have to be at whatever, negative 80 degrees, right? It could be negative 70 degrees. And just by starting to make those 10 degrees difference, save a tremendous amount of energy. So I really love that one because it's one of those things where, like someone was passionate about it. They saw an opportunity, did the research, and were able to then, get their team on board. Maybe one more. One more is, looking at waste and waste streams. That's oftentimes a space that, employees in particular see what's happening. And there was a company that was using an incredible amount of plastics. It was coming through the materials being shipped to them. They first started out and had a partnership with Festival Foods for the Trex, like you could do the bag recycling. So they said, okay, could we bring our plastic there? And like that was working for a while, but their numbers were getting too big. So they eventually got to the point where they now own a baler so that they can bale their own plastic waste so that it's getting to the right, so it's packaged and ready to then be picked up to turn into that Trex material.
Those are great stories.
Yeah. I can go on and on. There's so many great stories. And it's all local. It's all stuff happening here.
Right. That there are many things that we can do and be part of.
Yeah.
One thing that came to mind are restaurants, restaurant food, that they're not using at the end of the day.
Yep. Restaurants, we have a number of restaurants that we've worked with. There certainly is food recovery programs that exist, and there are, really desired to see if that could be grown. Mostly, get into the nitty gritty of it, a lot of refrigerated vehicles is oftentimes kind of the capacity challenge because you have to keep the food, refrigerated and safe to transport it. But a lot of interest in that, and restaurants certainly want to help their food feed people, right? And go that route. Yeah.
There's so many things that that anyone listening, I think would be interested in doing. How would they be able to get started on any of these things?
So what I want to kind of start answering the question with is that Sustain Dane believes that there's space for everyone and that it's a journey, right? There is no one way to be sustainable. There's no end point, and we really welcome everyone to come in at the place where they find their own excitement or interest, because that's where you're going to be most successful, right? And that's kind of what we're all trying to do, right? Figure out where our passions are and how we can make a difference on the planet. So I'd say probably signing up for our newsletter is a great first way to then start to see, what are they doing? What interests me? Where am I feeling excitement? We also are on the socials as well, of course, if that's a better way than a newsletter. And then from there, just show up at a program. We have, these workshops every quarter. We have the summit at the end of the year. I actually first went to a summit before I was even hired. And that was my first introduction to Sustain Dane. And I went to it and I was like, this is just this incredibly welcoming and friendly group of people. I really like this. Like, this feels right. And then, a little bit later, they had a job opening for the executive director role. And I said, yeah, that's what I want to do. So I said, come to the summit then.
Well, those sound like great ways for people to get involved. And is there anything else you'd like to tell people when we conclude our interview? I
think what's kind of maybe a good takeaway is to think about, you ask people to think about, ask you to think about, when are those times that you felt a connection to nature, right? And I feel like in those moments, in those memories, oftentimes that's the why behind this work that we're doing, right? It's, separating out your recycling, is not just for that, right? It's for kind of a bigger feeling and connection you may have to this planet that we're all sharing and on. So maybe that's what leave with is, think about those times when, you and Mother Nature hung out and, felt cared for and enjoyment and wanting to pass that on to the future and do our best that we can while we're here.
That's a fantastic message. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.